Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good, presented by Betches Media. I am shocked today is happening. I am talking to one of the most successful housewives in the history of Bravo. And even if you sometimes don't agree with her, she is a necessary character on Orange County that I think will be around until she decides to leave. She's had 14 seasons on Orange County. She dominates the podcast game with 2 T's in a pod and her new podcast, Talking a Big Game. They also just announced the first TwatCon on November 1st with a slew of housewives that will be there. Also the owner of what Jeff Lewis tells me is his favorite CBD, Venus CBD. Also the mother of my favorite character on OC this season, Sophia. The one, the only Tamra Judge. Tamra, how are you today?
You're gonna make me cry. I feel so important.
I'm sure I've made you cry in the past at some point. I mean, like this episode this week is one of the most dynamic, explosive episodes. And I just wanted to ask before we started, to you, what makes a good housewife?
Somebody that's willing to be open and honest and doesn't try to produce themselves and doesn't try to make up things to have a storyline. By the way, I hate the word storyline. You know, I live my life. I'm very open, honest. Sometimes I have, over the top things going on, and sometimes you don't. That's how life rolls, right?
Yeah, I mean, completely. And I think this season of OC, even though there is so much trauma involved, is one of the best OC seasons I've seen. Would you agree with that, or you're so in it that you really can't decipher what's good and what's not?
No, I definitely agree. I think actually the last 2 seasons of OC has been really good. I think this year there's just one of those seasons where there's a lot going on. We have somebody that's being investigated by the FBI. We have one person that was, drunk driving and hit and run. So, I mean, there's.
Well, we also had somebody that peed. We had somebody that peed on cement as well.
Yes, and somebody like Emily that peed on the grass. So you know what? This happens. And then we have the Johnny J of it all.
Johnny J. When you say his name, it really. Okay, I just got to hop in because at the end of this week's episode, you finally bring in what we saw in the season trailer, and that is Ryan and the word FBI. And Eddie, who, by the way, you guys, you can't see, is in the room as well. And Eddie is literally like,
he's hiding.
He's like, cut fitness forever, Eddie.
It's big treat now.
He's a big treat now. See, he's got a whole new uniform.
New company.
Big treat. Okay, Big Treat is the new company.
By
the way, I almost bought weights from Cut Fitness when they went on sale because I want a reality show museum one day. Anyways, you brought up the FBI, and Eddie says, no. Did you know going into that dinner at Katie's that was going to be brought up, or was that the martini talking?
That was martini talking. So basically, a lot of us had known about the FBI situation for months. It had been kind of circulating.
You said 6 months that this had been circulating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's back in October. Houses were raided by the FBI. And so we knew about it. And I wasn't going to say anything about it because it's really sticky to get involved in legal stuff. And they didn't show it, but Emily was in my courtyard weeks ago on an episode, and she brought it up. And there's a housewife fan account, Giorgio Says, and he broke it down. Like he exposed things that and this was 8 months ago he did this, I believe, things that I didn't even know. And so I'm like, holy moly. So that was pretty fresh when we were filming. So we talked about that a little bit, but it was never actually aired. So I figured the cat was already out of the bag. So when we went to Katie's house for the dinner party, Eddie and I had a talk, and he's like, babe, don't get this douche anything. Like, just don't. He is who he is. He's never going to change. He's so slimy. Like, his opinion doesn't matter. He's a little bitch. All he was doing was going on podcasts. It wasn't just podcasts, but he was going on social media, and he's living in the comment section. And over there, like, Tamra's this, and Tamra's a clown, and her husband's gay, and just talking bad shit about Eddie. And you know what, Ryan, you little bitch, talk shit about me all you want. I don't care. But when you're coming from my husband and you're coming for my son, who he's never met, like, that's when I say enough is enough.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously you get activated when anything like that happens, but I just thought what a big moment, because we know then you guys picked up cameras eventually when all of that stuff went down. So it was a really shocking moment to be brought on. And I think as Housewives continue on and you've been part of this for so long, it's really about what you can bring on the show and what you can keep off the show, it seems like. And this was a huge one that I think we're going to see ripple effects for the rest of the season. Now, I mean, I hate to keep talking about this, but I don't know, and I'm sure you've been sent this, but Jenn now is, she's activated as well. She was in an Instagram story coming after you. And I do love when podcasting gets in. I love when podcasting is storylines. I'm hoping that this can make season 19, this interview right here. But Jenn is coming after you saying you're doing this for a storyline. How are you and Jenn right now? Because it definitely seems you're not good.
Oh, Jenn can go kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. Jenn is doing all the newbie mistakes. All the newbie mistakes.
What are the newbie mistakes?
Going on social media. She can't say anything to anybody's face. She talks a big game in the interview chair, but when it's one-on-one, she doesn't have much to say. She doesn't have much to offer. If it wasn't for Ryan and his, lifestyle, she probably wouldn't even be on the show more than one season. So, honestly, she's on there talking shit about me, doing all these things. I'm like, girl, you're trying to get in front of this week's episode. Your man looks like a douchebag. He gets caught in many lies. I mean, all he has to do is walk in the room and people go,
oh my God. Oh my God. But Jenn seems like such a sweet person, that's the.
See that word you just used? Seems.
Well, I always say seems because I don't know you off camera. I don't. Right. All I can go by is what I see on social media and what I see. So I always tell people I don't know Tamra off camera. I see this is how she is on the show and from 14 seasons. I don't know Jenn off camera. I don't know Shannon off camera. So all of these people, it's just what we see. And, recently you were talking about coming in on your podcast, Guns Blazing, at the reunion, because you feel like we haven't, we haven't gotten to see a lot of the story. We've gotten to see the reaction, but we haven't got to see the things leading up to some of these entanglements that you've been into this season. What did you mean by that?
Because a lot has not been shown, and I know that in order to make a good reunion, that not everything is shown. So we have to go in there and be like, that happened because this happened. Like I've been getting a lot of shit like, oh, you're not sympathetic to Shannon. You're not this, you're not that. But you've never really heard my story and how
but why don't we hear your stuff? I mean, like, that's my big question as well.
Maybe you ask the editor at the production company why. And that's things that are going to be brought up at the reunion. For sure.
Well, can we pretend this is a little bit of the reunion? Because as a fan of this show, and it's like I said, one of the best seasons, it didn't make sense even with the Shannon storyline. Yeah. You came in so hot and heavy, and you were screaming when she hadn't even said anything.
Well, no, I said, let me back you up.
Yeah.
She actually started something with me, and that was my response to what she started, but they cut that out
at Gina's dinner.
Yes.
Got it.
And another one was the very first episode of the Balboa Bay Club when I actually went to go look for her to make sure she was okay. I went to go look for her and she's like, what are you doing here? And so you see us small talk. And then I'm like, you're a horrible person. You're just a horrible person. I walked away. It's because she said something to me that was really nasty. And I just went, I'm not doing this. And I walked away.
Huh.
So So that's what a lot of people were confused. They're like, I don't understand how it went from 0 to 60. And I'm like, why would I get up from my chair and go check on somebody to make sure they're okay to yell at them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and Shannon obviously had a very real relationship that carried on off season as well. And that's what I was on Jeff Lewis's show. And he was saying, hey, there's a very real relationship. And there's so many things that you don't know about this relationship. But I guess it's just like, we're all so curious about it because we do see Shannon as a sympathetic character that you root for, because obviously, like I always say, you are wired differently. You come off tough. You come off always getting things done. You can handle yourself in an argument. Shannon sometimes comes off the polar opposite, which sometimes, that's why I think we all want to love her a little bit more because sometimes we see ourselves in that. And we want this kind of resolution with you guys. But at this point, it seems like there's no possibility of that. Is that true?
No, yeah, I would be no, I think she needs to do a lot of work, and she needs to do a lot of apologizing to me for what she has done to me. You have to understand, it was 10 years of me talking her off the ledge, taking the phone calls all day, all night. And some of the things I don't even want to repeat that are so bad.
Well, I mean, you can repeat, if this is a safe space. Yeah.
Some of them were really, really toxic and bad. And it interfered with my life. Like Eddie would say, every time you get off the phone with her, it's like always something, like you're always so down. And I go, it's like, you are who you hang out with. And I like to be with positive, successful people. And she was always a downer. She was always calling drunk. And then when she got the DUI, I was like, I had to talk with her. I said, listen, it's been really hard for me to say this to you. I go, but you got a drinking problem. And this is a wake-up call and you need to get help. So she was out there telling everybody she wasn't drinking. And she was calling me drunk every night. Every night she was calling me drunk. And I'm like... So then she started, and the thing with Shannon is when she drinks like that, she's very aggressive and mean. When I say aggressive, aggressive.
Where we sometimes see you aggressive.
She's very lucky John has not released the videos.
Well, I was going to, bring up that gently. Have you seen these videos? Because it seems like when you talk about it, that you were very aware of this and that you had even potentially seen it. Is that true?
No, I have only been told what is on these videos. And because I know Shannon very well, I know how she gets when she's drunk. There's no doubt in my mind what I've been told is the absolute truth.
Well, I don't doubt that either. People are drinking, people are arguing. Obviously, they had a very toxic relationship. So I don't doubt those videos at all. I think my rage about that whole situation was, wow, it does come off as blackmail in a sense of not you, but of this being brought onto the show.
It's not. It came up at two different, totally different times. And it didn't even come from John. It came from Alexis telling us something off camera about these videos. And the way she told me and Katie, it was like, you know what? I really wish that Shannon could see these videos so she sees what she looks like and maybe we'll get help. And and then it came to they're going to be released. And John has never said anything about the videos. It's been Alexis and Katie.
Well, that comes up in this week's episode, which, by the way, was that butt dial from Shannon real? Like, how is a camera there and Shannon accidentally butt dials you when you have a camera on you?
Okay, so this is the thing. I was filming at home. I had finished. And then as soon as I finished, an article came out about John suing Shannon, filed a lawsuit.
In People magazine, right?
Yes. So they said, can you just give Shannon a call to see, how she's doing? So I call her and there's no answer. Now, to know Shannon, she butt dials all the time. All the time. So normally I would anybody butt dials me, I hang up immediately because it just feels like such an invasion of privacy. But so she butt dialed me as I'm sitting there and the camera cruises around me and I'm like, they're just like, keep it open. And I'm like, and then as I go to hang up, she goes, hello? And I'm like, oh shit. So but obviously in a state, do you watch these shows back, the edits? I know you lived through them, but then do you watch them back? I do. I watch it one time. We get the shows on a Monday, they air on a Thursday. So we get the screener and I watch it and that's it. I don't ever watch it live, like when it airs.
Well, this Monday, when you watched the screener and all the other housewives watched it, were you like, oh, here we go? Do you prepare yourself? Aviva Drescher from New York once said, housewives are like gladiators with tits. You got to prepare for battle. After Monday, when you watched that episode, what did you steel yourself for? Like, prepare yourself for?
Well, first of all, I was very nervous about this episode because Eddie and I agreed not to bring this, anything up, even like him going after me and Eddie and my son on social media and then doing podcasts. Like, it's just weird. Like Eddie's been, attacked by Vicki, Kelly Dodd. Did he ever once go on social media and try, or do podcasts or anything like that? And Eddie's taught me by
the way, Eddie has his own podcast, The Eds, with Eddie's husband as well. So just to point that out. But he doesn't go after people on that.
No. Eddie has taught me one thing. He's like, babe, don't care about what other people think. Care about what you think about yourself.
But have you listened to Eddie?
No, I do. I'm not, honestly, I'm not really one of those that is on, it takes like me being in a very bad mood for me to get on social media and just be like Jenn does, you are trash and you are this. And I'm like, okay.
But Tamra, you give it really good as well. Like, I would never, like, you know, like, I mean, I think a lot of housewives probably live in fear of you because you play this game so well. Like,
I'm not afraid. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to go after you for no reason, but if you come for me, I'm going to finish you. You want to start it? I'll finish it.
So Monday, you watched this episode. What did you hear from the other ladies? Was like Emily like, oh my God, did you see it? Did you see it?
I did. I got a couple text messages about Ryan going after Eddie, saying he's unemployed and things like that. I'm like, we have a CBD business that we've had for 5 years in THC business. And let's just say it generates more money than that was taken away from the Dodger player. Let's just put it that way. And then we also have Big Treat. I have 4 podcasts. Eddie has 1 podcast. We own 2 houses. We're looking to buy another one. I think we're fine.
No, I think you're completely good.
So for him to see that, and then another thing he kept saying, like, Eddie's not a dude. He's not a dude. So he keeps insinuating Eddie's gay.
No, well, I didn't know. I didn't think. I thought he was like, he's not a bro like me. He doesn't wear splatter on his jean jackets.
He doesn't have hair plugs and take steroids. No, my husband he's got nice hair and he looks out.
Oh my God. Okay, so you get all of these things. All of this is going down. You have the Shannon situation. Now you have the Jenn situation on top of. Can you explain heads or tails what this Katie, Heather, Gina thing is? Because I still don't necessarily understand, because I don't care if housewives ever call paparazzi on themselves. I expect it and kind of want it, to be honest. Why is Heather so affected?
I think a lot of people in the industry do call the paparazzi or tip them off and let them know where they're at. And there's really nothing wrong with that. That's just putting your face out there in the entertainment business. But this is a situation where I mean, I've never seen paparazzi at Disneyland, but I said, come on. And I confronted her and she said, absolutely, it's not true. And then Katie comes in and says, like, she has all this information. And
she knows the king of paparazzi, Katie says.
Yeah, she evidently. So then Heather's like, Tamra, I'm telling you, I didn't. And I'm like, okay, I believe you. I honestly believe you. But Katie just keeps going and going and going. And, you know, we're going to see it all the way to then. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm distracted. The New York girls are just walking by.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hello, Aaron. Hello, Sai. By the way, she's in New York right now.
It's Brynn. It's Brynn. You want to say hi to Brynn?
Brynn. Hey, Brynn.
Get in here. Say hi. I'm on a podcast. Say hi. How are you?
Brynn, so bad it's good. Ryan Bailey. Hi, Brynn. I watch your
site. I love this woman.
I love
the season premiere of RHONY is really good. The season premiere of RHONY is I saw it. Really good.
I saw it too. It's good. It's a good season. I mean, this is the pioneer of everything. I only have a job because of this woman. Thank you.
Good to see you, Brynn.
You're helping the employment rate in America.
Thank you.
Wow, what an exciting day. And I also want to mention Tamra will be on Watch What Happens Live after OC tonight, which she has not recorded yet, I believe. So that's exciting. But back to the Katie thing, you mentioned earlier about first season housewives and certain mistakes they make. Do you think Katie made a mistake in continuing with this paparazzi storyline, or is that influenced by producers?
Yeah, I think that, no, I don't think it's influenced by producers. I think she brought it on herself. So what I was told from her is that Gina is the one that she told Gina first, months before we started filming. And then all of a sudden, Gina's telling her, oh my God, you have to bring it up. You have to bring it up. And it's funny, and it's going to be funny, and it's going to secure your job and all this stuff. So I'm like, no way in any world Heather Dubrow is going to think that's funny. So in my mind, from what Katie was telling me, is Gina set her up. So that's why
how would Gina doesn't seem like she would ever set up it. I mean, like, that to me is such a reach from the character of Gina that we know on the show.
Yeah, I was a little bit shocked that would be happening. I'm like, why would you want to set up? But Katie was very convincing when she was telling me all this. So I'm like, Gina, like, that's not cool. And Gina admitted, yes, I did tell her to bring it up. And then I told her not to bring it up. And then she brought it up. And I think the only mistake I had is believing Katie Katie just seems so sweet and nice. And I'm like, I don't understand why Gina would do this. And so that's my biggest mistake. And I've apologized to Gina about that.
But I like Katie. I mean, I hope she comes. I mean, I like Katie a lot. And you did stand up for her, which I think she needs in a first season. But yeah. I mean, this cast to me is a perfect cast almost. It's just that as you do this podcast where you talk about all of these shows, you watch all of them, you study them, which I always point out. And we see New Jersey where it was conflict, no resolution. These shows are all about conflict resolution, which I think that's the situation that you're in right now is what can we resolve of this? Because we've exploded so much this season.
Well, I mean, for me, it's Jenn and Shannon. I think that, I will never make up with Ryan. I don't associate with those types of people. And I have no desire to be around people that are, not doing shady things. Let's just put it that way. And, with Shannon, it's bittersweet because we were friends for a very long time. But when I'm trying to help her through this DUI and I'm there for her when cameras are down to find out that she's calling people saying horrible things about me, I just went, I'm done. At this point, I got to protect myself.
But what did she say? I mean, what did she say about you? Because like you said, we don't see any of that. So of course, I mean, fully support of Shannon and getting better and having to, you have to admit, even as a viewer of this show, if you had to take yourself out of it, having your ex's new girlfriend on the show is insane.
Yeah. But you guys have to understand this is two separate things. Like,
your Shannon, relationship.
My relationship with Alexis came way before all of this. And before Alexis dating John. So me and Shannon had a falling out and people seem to think like I came back to the show and I dumped Shannon and I'm best friends with Alexis and this is what we're doing. Had nothing to do with that. I mean, I didn't have much of a relationship with John at all. And I've seen him twice since we filmed, maybe.
Twice since you and Eddie aren't hanging out double dating on the weekend.
No, we did. The premiere night, Heather, Terry, Eddie, Alexis, we all went out. But it's not like I'm not like this with them. Yeah. It's not like, I know him that well. So I know that they're happy. They seem very happy. They spent a lot of time together. When he is with Shannon, he wasn't like that at all.
No, I mean, I don't think anybody's arguing that was a very toxic relationship, but I think what we're questioning just watching the show is if you have then met the actual love of your life and she's met her Johnny J, why are we even pursuing this? If the 75 is willing to be given back for whatever was done, why can't we just call it even? And he goes about his beautiful life and she goes about her beautiful life.
Yeah,
and is happy.
I don't think it's as simple as that. I think that there was restrictions with her paying him back. It was a payment plan. It was this, it's that. Then after she's been saying so many bad things about him for years, he now has a muzzle on if he signs this. But if they went to court, that would never happen. So that's their deal. I don't know all the details about the lawsuit, but I do know what's been shown on the show. I would think exactly what everybody else is thinking.
Well, yeah, I mean, Alexis made an Instagram post over this weekend where, locked comments and it was like, you haven't seen my story. But, I would think she would understand being in this before that this is what you were going to use this as a friend of in hopes of getting on as a regular the next season, which, I know I have a couple more minutes with you, which kills me because I could go for hours. But what are you going to do? I mean, if she does come back next season, we're going to potentially have a wedding season. You could potentially be a bridesmaid. How are you going to handle that situation? Because I'm still in hopes of you and Shannon coming to some sort of resolution. I might be a fool for thinking that. How are you going to handle that? Because that's a storyline.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to cross that path when it comes. I definitely have friends that are friends with people that I don't like or they don't like. And, I'm 57 years old. I'm not in high school. So if me and Shannon are friends, like Heather Dubrow's friends with Alexis and Shannon still talks to Heather. So, we'll see.
But this is my sports. We watch this. I scream at the TV. I mean, like this is what we're into. And this season has provided everything to us, but at like some really intense cost. I know I just have one more minute with you, I think. So how you were very brave to post all of your your facial or your
yes.
whatever you did with your face. You looked like Shrek at one point.
I did.
By the way, you posted yourself willingly, so you had to have known the fan base was going to meme the hell out of that. I mean, you look amazing now. How is everything healing?
Thank you. Everything's good. So I went to my doctor, Dr. Molds in Newport Beach, and I said, my brows are really starting to drop. I had a lower facelift 7 years ago, but I didn't have anything upper. And he goes, yeah, you need a brow lift. I'm like, okay. So then he goes, you know what? Let's do a CO2 laser and a blue peel on you when you're under, because it'll be really good for your skin. I kind of knew there was swelling, and I bear it all. I don't care, the good, the bad, the ugly. And
but you seem like you were so emotional at that time too, and that's what was like, oh my God, don't be on camera, because you at one point crying, and I was like, maybe that.
Oh no, that's a whole different. That was a whole different thing. That was somebody I know, Vicki, as you know, really going after me about and saying, spreading lies, and it was nonstop. And I got to the point where this is my daughter. How dare you say that she doesn't speak to me because of the fact that I'm on the show and I do crazy things? She doesn't know the ins and outs of it because I've never told her, because I don't trust her. So it's a very tragic situation. It's not just me. It's my whole entire family she doesn't speak to. There's a lot of people that are hurt because of this. My children that live with me full time, have been totally hurt by this. And it's just sick that she would go there. And I just had it. I'm like, you want my job? What do you want? I know you're doing this because you're trying to make yourself relevant, but you're an asshole.
Well, we are not announcing a Tres Amigas reunion on this podcast, unfortunately, today.
No, thank God. I couldn't get out of that. I couldn't get out of the Tres Amigas soon enough. It was so embarrassing.
I think that's all the time I have with you, Tamra. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you at some point down the line, because I have so many other questions about everything else you do. But thank you for an amazing season. I sometimes don't agree with you. But like, it is interesting that I do, I'm really interested to see what we don't see. I'm really excited for the reunion, and I hope there can be mending of a lot of these bridges and fences. Ryan, though, are we going to see him fully go down this season, since this is opened up now?
The FBI stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We actually, and he's like, we actually, we actually pick up cameras. So it's pretty shocking. So we go from me saying the FBI, and then towards the end, an engagement party, and a day later, the FBI stuff breaks. And
you went out and bought an FBI hat, I see, from the trailer.
Yeah, you sweet ass, I did.
Oh my God. It's like,
by the way, nobody in our cast knew the depths of this. We thought it had something to do with a casino in Vegas. We had no idea it involved the Dodger player.
Well,
there's several things that are being investigated, I hear.
Well, we will see that on season 19 of Real Housewives of Orange County. Thank you, Tamra, for doing this today. Thank you, Eddie, in the background there. You handled it well. What an awkward man conversation this week was. But guys, this is an amazing season of Orange County. If you are not watching, you are missing out on amazing television. Go follow Twat's podcast. Go see the live show. Go get the CBD. Go follow Eddie's company. All of that stuff. And hopefully I'll talk to you again one day, Tamra.
Yeah, we should do a pod swap.
Yeah, that would be great. I saw your crappins when I was talking to Ronnie about it. Yeah. But thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good luck.
Thank you. Bye-bye.